Because of him, I lost 3 kids and struggled to conceive again, only to find out he had a child with another woman while I was missing after a car crash. When I was out of touch with him because of the accident, he stayed by her side to welcome their new baby. So, for his child's 1-month celebration, I gave him a big surprise. His mistress was livid, but he hugged me tightly, eyes teary. "Don't leave me again." I laughed. "Ethan, I'm dying. This time, you can't keep me. It's later stage stomach cancer." On those sleepless nights from the pain, I scroll through my phone and stumble upon a tweet from Ethan's mom. She posted a picture of a baby, captioned, "My dear grandchild is finally here. Mother and child are safe." The baby in the picture has a trace of Ethan's features. He finally got what he wanted, a child. In the photo, he holds the baby, staring down at it, eyes filled with affection for the child. I wonder if he ever remembers that I once carried his child too. If they had lived, they would look like him. Under that tweet, there's a flood of likes and congratulatory comments. Everyone seemed to forget. I'm Ethan's wife. A friend messaged me. Ethan's planning a grand party for his mistress' child, Rosie. The mistress and Ethan will attend together. Rosie had a son and couldn't wait to show off, probably thinking this would secure her role as lady of the house. But I haven't divorced Ethan yet. They all thought I was dead, being so blatant and smug. Too bad for them. I'm still breathing, even if barely, and I won't let them get away with it. For the baby's 1-month party, I planned a big surprise. Ethan must really care about this child. The party was extravagant, attended by anyone who had ties with him. He seemed desperate to show off he had a son. I stood upstairs, watching him move through the crowd, flawlessly socializing. It felt unreal. It's only been 6 months since I last saw him, just a fraction of the time we've known each other. How did he become so unrecognizable? Ethan's mom beamed as she held her grandson, holding Rose's hand like she was the mistress of the house. And Ethan seemed to endorse it all with his silence. What a scumbag. Not 6 months ago, he swore he just needed a child and would never be involved with Rosie. But in the short period I was out of touch, he chose the woman who almost killed me. Every scar on my body, every terrifying moment trapped in the car, pushed me closer. Wearing a red dress, I stood out in the crowd. I specially had a trendy style done for me for this occasion. Everyone who recognized me had a priceless expression, whispering excitedly like they were watching a drama unfold. Rosie and Ethan's mom were stunned, panicking instantly. Who let her in? Where's security? It's my husband's son's 1-month party. How could I, the legitimate wife, not attend? I chuckled. Don't panic. I'm not here to break you up. I'm here to join you. With a wave, a troupe of performers came bursting in with dragons and lions. The place buzzed with excitement, red banners waving, drums booming. 2 lion heads somersaulted onto the stage, unfurling a banner with golden words glaring enough for everyone present to see. Nanny Rosie loves my husband deeply, had his child despite knowing her place as the rightful wife. I'm here to propose taking her as a concubine. I heard someone stifling laughter. Rosie flushed red, tears brimming as she clung to Ethan's sleeve. Honey, say something. Ethan's mom stormed over. You little vixen, what's your agenda? Can't have kids of your own. Here to ruin us. Aren't you dead? Whyd you come back. Why haven't you died out there? I stepped back, skillfully dodging her slap. It's still breath in my lungs. I won't let you have your way. Before things got more chaotic, Ethan strode over, deflecting his mother's strike, grabbing me tightly. He looked agitated, not enraged, but somewhat delighted. I knew you'd come. You finally showed up. His grip on my wrist hurt. I caught you. You won't get away from me again. I scoffed. What an act. Acting like I wronged you. Showing this deep affection for who? The party ended hastily. Ethan, like a madman, pulled me away in front of everyone, ignoring his adored son and mistress. Rose's face twisted in anger, crying out for Ethan as she chased us, only to be left in a cloud of exhaust fumes. Things took a turn. Ethan locked me up. The suburban villa, overly quiet, was now eerie. He sent away all the maids, leaving just the 2 of us. He stared at me intensely, giving me chills. Ethan, everyone saw you take me. If I die here, you won't get away with it. Why did you leave me? Don't you find that question ridiculous? After all you've done, you still ask why. His mistress had entered our home, slapping me in the face, and he wondered why I didn't smile and accept it. Who is that man? His question confused me. What man? The one who helped fake your death and get you out of the crash. Who is he? his fist clenched, veins barely showing, suppressing great anger. To him, my near-death experience was just a staged act. Who said I faked my death? Your mistress. You believe her. Why? I heard you talking to him, telling him to take you away. Ethan grabbed me. Jane, you're my wife. I slapped him. You know I'm your wife. Yet what did you do? Had a child with another woman, brought her into our home. Then, you think about me. I don't love her. I did it to make you come back. Only this way would you return. Yes, I'm back. I want a divorce. No, you can't. Ethan tightened his hold. You cannot leave me. I couldn't push him away. He came up to me like a dog and kept kissing me. You're mine. You can only be mine. I had no strength left. After a few struggles, my energy was gone. Jane, how did you get so thin? His warm breath was on my neck. We used to be so close, but now, his touch felt torturous. I stiffened and didn't move, but he stopped too. I knew why. My body, from the collarbone down, was covered in scars, big and small, burn scars, scratch marks, crisscrossing my pale skin with pink streaks. Told him just how much I had suffered. So, do you still doubt I faked my death? I wasn't shy about showing it. I liked seeing the shock and pain in his eyes, though it was nothing compared to what I had been through. Ethan, all these were gifts from your little sweetheart. If I hadn't died, how could she have taken my place legit? I laughed and pried his fingers one by one away from me. You're so smart. Can't you figure it out? Or do you just refuse to admit it? Ethan's face turned a stony blue as he walked out. I clutched my stomach and collapsed, quickly digging out painkillers from my bag to take. 120 pills, 3 a day, counting down my life. But it's enough. Enough to drag them all to hell with me. I think Ethan might still like me, even if his love is cheap. But knowing his personality, he'd definitely investigate. When he discovered it was Rosie who helped me escape and planned the car accident meant to kill me, her good days would be over. Ethan didn't show up until the next day. I was groggy from the meds. His chilly embrace woke me up. Even his kisses were cold. I felt uneasy and pushed him away. His mood was off. He must have found out. I'm sorry, Jane. I'm so sorry. His eyes were red, choked with emotion. It was the first time I saw Ethan cry. I smiled and gently wiped his tears. It's not that big of a deal. Just nearly died. Spent half a month in the ICU. Got 7 critical condition notices, and 10% of my body had burns. I showed him my scars, further instigating him. Ethan, you almost never saw me again. Maybe I should have died half a year ago, so he could have a happy family reunion with his kid. He suddenly looked terrified and hugged me tighter, voice hoarse. No, don't say that. You can't die. You are not allowed to die. I don't care about any family reunion. I only want you. He rubbed my back, growing more intense. She hurt you. She deserves to die. Ethan had always been ruthless, so his words reassured me. But Rosie wasn't the only one who deserved to die. That night, he insisted on holding me to sleep. He said he wanted to start over, never mentioning the child. But I had to ask, Ethan, do you remember our children? His body stiffened, holding me tight. Jane, don't think about it anymore. You can forget, but I can't. The first child was during our junior year. It was all so hurried and unexpected. I held the test report, and he hugged me tight, saying, don't be scared. We were still in school, unable to bear the responsibility of a child, so we chose to let it go. But I didn't expect that because of this decision, I might never be able to have my own child. Right after college, he proposed. The first year of marriage, I got pregnant. In less than 2 months, the baby was gone. This was our second child. We did a thorough checkup, only to find out I was Rh negative. Having the first child meant I had antibodies, and if I got pregnant again, it likely result in a miscarriage due to hemolysis. Years later, we anticipated our third child. I was extra careful after finding out about the pregnancy, praying day and night. Finally, the baby survived the critical 3 months. Ethan and I were thrilled. We could finally have a love child, our little angel. He came with me to buy cute clothes and toys for the baby, and we set up the nursery together. I gently rocked the cradle, asking him, do you think the baby is a girl? Being this good and all, maybe, our sweet little girl. He leaned on my belly cautiously. Baby, Daddy and Mommy love you so much. Please come to us safely. But a few days later, I woke up with severe abdominal pain, and there was a wet patch of blood beneath me. Miracles didn't happen. I couldn't keep her. That chaotic night was full of blood and pain. I didn't want to recall it. I considered the mass of flesh that left me and the words I vaguely heard part of a nightmare. Until the woman walked in with her big belly. Sis, I know you can't have children. I promise that every child I birth for Ethan will only have you as their mother. I don't want to ruin your relationship with Ethan, but you don't understand a mother's heart if you haven't given birth. I just ask you to treat my children well. Ethan really loves you. When Hez with me, he calls your name. Her hand caressed her protruding belly, like a bulging balloon. Her face sharp and tear-streaked, eyes looking pitifully at me. My hands trembled. The nightmare of that bloody night seemed to descend again. The voices haunting me, distorting. Sorry, Jane. We tried our best. It was a girl. No heartbeat anymore. Son, this woman is barren. She killed 3 of our children. It's a sin. You wouldn't listen to me. Had to marry her. Bad luck. If you don't divorce her, just get a child from outside. Our family can't have no descendants because of her. I thought those were nightmare sounds, but it turns out it was the reality I didn't dare face. My husband, during my grieving nights, had hidden a woman and fathered a child with her. And I, his wife, what was I? Because I couldn't bear him children, thrown away like trash. The woman's scream was piercing next to my ear. She collapsed to the ground, staring at me in horror, her face twisted in fear as she looked at my bloody hands and the broken glass. Please, sister, don't do this. The baby is innocent. Has Ethan's flesh and blood. You know how much he wants a child of his own. Sister, I'm begging you. If you're angry, take it out on me. Don't hurt the baby. I don't care about my status. I just want to give him a child with his bloodline. Her face, somewhat similar to mine, filled me with even more disgust. I stood up and shouted, "Shut up, get out of here." I'm sure I didn't touch her, but when Ethan's mother burst in, she was clutching her belly, screaming and begging for mercy. Ethan's mother slapped me so hard my head buzzed. She started cursing at me non-stop. You bringer of bad luck. You can't even have children and you dare to hurt her. If you hurt my grandson, I'll kill you. Ethan's mother stood protectively in front of that woman like a hen guarding her chicks, glaring at me with hate. Stumbling back a few steps, I looked at the mess on the ground, feeling both dazed and nauseated, not wanting to stay a moment longer in that place. I left everything behind and ran out of that house. But Ethan is possessive. He doesn't want to let go. He refuses to divorce. He doesn't even understand me. Jane, what are you so upset about? It's just a child. Hell, call you mom once has born. You don't have to go through childbirth. And hell, look like you too. Nothing between us has to change. He didn't get why I was so upset. Just like I didn't get why he could see this as no big deal. When I mentioned divorce for the second time, his face turned dark. He picked me up forcefully and said, "I won't divorce you. Stop it. Let's go home." My persistence didn't make him realize anything. Instead, he locked me up. When Rosie showed up, I had a feeling she was up to no good, but I was desperate to leave Ethan then, so I fell into her trap and nearly died in that carefully planned car accident. It surprised me when Rosie came again. She used her same old tricks, acting pitiful, but I knew Ethan wasn't swayed by that, and neither was I. Jane, it was all a misunderstanding. I really wanted to help you. I didn't know the car would have an accident. Now Ethan blames me, has gathered evidence, and had my brother arrested. Next. She clung to my leg, crying miserably. I can't go to jail. If I do, what will happen to my baby without a mother? I grabbed her chin, lifted her head, and smiled. Didn't you say the baby only had one mother? Me? What kind of mother are you? She stared at me blankly, tears still on her face. But I carried him for 10 months. So what? Does Ethan care? She trembled slightly, crying, "I'm the mother of the child. You can't treat me like this." I pulled out a recorder and played a recording of Ethan and me arguing when I first found out Rosie was pregnant. He said, "Rosie means nothing. She won't shake your position." He said, "Jane, you'll always be my only wife. As for her, I just need her to have the baby. Jane, you should understand. To vie for the company against that illegitimate child from my father, I need an heir." Rosie must have known her role early on, but hearing Ethan's words so bluntly must have been humiliating. I saw her face turn even paler. I pulled my leg out and kicked her. I mocked, "You shouldn't have such delusions. Even if I kill you right here." Ethan wouldn't even frown. From start to finish, Ethan never cared about you. You plotted against me, not knowing that my death would give you no chance at all. No, it's you. You manipulated him against me, didn't you? She rushed forward and grabbed me, leaving a scratch on my arm. I impatiently slapped her. "Wake up. will you? Look at what happened to your brother and you'll know how badly you'll end up. I showed her the scratches on me, and she stepped back in fear. Don't be scared. Soon, they'll all be on you too. Courtesy of Ethan's promises. Get away from me. You're insane. Rosie was terrified, stumbling up and running away. I heard the news that Rosie had fled with the baby that same night. Simon texted me. Ethan's house was in chaos, and they had already reported it to the police. They even offered a huge reward for finding the baby. $300,000. Just think about it. What did you say to Rosie that pushed her to this extreme? Rosie knew she couldn't get anything from Ethan and decided to take a risk by using the baby to extort money and make a run for it. Simon laughed. I don't know how much she asked for, but Ethan's family is already raising the money. But who knows if Rosie will live to enjoy it. Ethan's family doesn't tolerate any threats. Rosie dared to take the baby, leaving herself with no way out. Ethan must be busy. As expected, he didn't show up that night, which gave me some peace. No need to put on a show for him. These days, I can feel my body deteriorating rapidly. There's not much time left for me to settle this with him. He came back the next day around noon. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked exhausted. He held me tightly without even taking off his clothes. What happened? Don't move. Let me hold you. His voice was hoarse. Rosie took the baby. We searched all night and finally got him back. Oh, no wonder you didn't come yesterday. He tightened his arms around me. Jane, do you want me to come? From now on, I'll be with you every day. I promise. Okay. I touched his face, smiling gently at the light in his eyes that only appeared when he looked at me. He leaned in and kissed my cheek. Why have you lost so much weight? He held my waist and frowned. Speaking daily, I don't know. I used to worry about dieting, but now I can't gain weight even if I try. Drink more of the soup the nanny makes. You can't lose more weight. I nodded in agreement. Can I go out for a walk? Keeping me cooped up here isn't good for either of us. He didn't answer. I knew he wouldn't even let me have a phone. He was afraid I'd disappear again. But, Ethan, I'll truly disappear soon. How can you stop that? Will you be in unimaginable pain then? I kinda look forward to it. Rosie was a mess this time, crying her heart out on her hospital bed, beaten and bruised, barely clinging to life. She had tried to flee with the money, but got chased down, leading to a serious car accident. She looked just like I did back then, despite her condition. When she saw me, she had a fierce look in her eyes, still feisty. Jane, don't be scared. She can't hurt you, Ethan said, holding me close, trying to comfort me from the bloody scene. But I wasn't scared. I was just as injured and bloody back then, if not worse. There was nothing to fear. I only feared she wasn't suffering enough. Rosie, your brother has already confessed everything. He spilled all the details about how you planned to cause the car accident and kidnap me for ransom. When you recover, you'll have to face multiple charges and go to prison. Rosie howled like a wounded dog, her voice hoarse. You people aren't human. You're heartless. Ethan, I'm the mother of your child. If he finds out you treated me like this, hell hate you. Don't worry. Hell never know you existed. Never. Ethan watched her lose her mind with a cold, ruthless calmness. I'm begging you. Let me go. I made a mistake. I didn't mean it. I don't want to go to jail. I'm only 24. She pleaded, blood and tears mixed on her face, looking truly pitiful. Please, sister, let me go. Shut up. I don't have a sister like you. I lightly kicked her, looking at her like she was dog shit. Did you ever think a day like this would come when you tried to kill me? She trembled even more violently, crying unattractively, no longer caring about her image. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was manipulated. I did it for my child. I just wanted to be with my child and got confused for a moment. You're back safe now. Please let me go. Okay, Ethan, Mr. Ethan, I gave you a child. Remember the good times. Please, just. Before she could finish, Ethan kicked her over, silencing her for good. How ridiculous. Thinking some past kindness would save her. She wanted to hurt me where it stings. But that's the thing Ethan wants to avoid most in front of me. Provoking him was her death wish. Ethan held me gently, caressing my back. I knew he must be wondering why I returned so cold and indifferent, so changed from the timid, weak woman I once was. But he didn't ask, just held me and said, Jane, she's gone. Let's start over and go back to the way we were. Okay. I cradled his face and smiled warmly. Ethan, you once wove a beautiful dream for me, only to shatter it. So now it's my turn. I'll weave a dream for you, a memorable one. With the little time I have left, We spent so many years together. I know all his likes and dislikes well. In the mornings, I'd give him a gentle kiss good morning. His stomach isn't great, so he'd need pumpkin porridge, just slightly sweet. He'd hold me by the waist as I tied his tie, looking at me lovingly, waiting for me to tiptoe and kiss him goodbye, saying, "Come back early." In the evening, he'd come home to a hot, delicious meal. If he came home early, he'd join me in the kitchen, arms around my waist like a clingy child. "Jane, you're finally back. What are you talking about? I've been back for days. When I drive home, knowing you're waiting for me, I'm content with you. I don't need anything else." I just smiled and stayed silent. Liar, you had me and still fooled around with Rosie, having a child with her. "Jane, don't you love spicy food? Why have all the dishes been so bland lately?" He gave me some food. I pressed my aching stomach and smiled weakly. "My stomach isn't good. Can't eat spicy now. Stomach problems. How? Just took too much medicine lately. Side effects." He frowned, gently holding my hand. "I'll get a doctor to check you out." No, it's not time for him to know about my condition yet. "What's wrong?" I yanked my hand away. "I hate hospitals and doctors. I don't want to go to a hospital anymore. I've had enough this past half year." "Okay, we won't. He temporarily gave up on the idea, but I worried I couldn't hide it much longer. My body got weaker, and the pain lasted longer, unbearable even with medication. I lay in bed, drenched in cold sweat. It hurt so much. I wanted to die. No hot meal awaited Ethan today. I was in too much pain to get up. Finally feeling a bit better, I changed and showered. In the mirror, I looked pale. Even makeup couldn't help. Less than a month left. I figured. I forgot to make food. Watching a movie. How about we eat out? No worries. Let's just cook some noodles. He still refused to let me leave, wanting to keep me in his world. Plain noodles still made him happy, but my stomach couldn't handle it. A few bites and the salty, bloody taste filled my mouth. I curled up in the bathroom, retching. Only blood and bile came out. Ethan anxiously knocked on the door. By the time he entered, I'd cleaned up all traces. "What's wrong?" Feeling unwell. His eyes were red with worry, a bit nauseous, stomach acting up. "I can't eat anymore." He joined me in bed, rubbing my stomach. Feeling better now. Whenever I had menstrual cramps, he'd hold me like this, warming my stomach. Back then, I thought I was the happiest person in the world. "Jane, let's get a doctor to check you. Doesn't have to be a hospital. They can come over." No, Ethan was stubborn, though I refused firmly. A doctor came the next day. I threw a bit of a fit with him, but I eventually agreed to get checked out. Without the proper equipment and refusing blood tests, they probably wouldn't find anything. Right? The doctor still suggested I go to the hospital for a detailed examination. The doctor's attitude only added to Ethan's anxiety. He didn't go to work and insisted on staying home with me. I could only sneak my medication while he was cooking, but he seemed to be suspicious anyway. I kept wondering how Ethan would feel when he found out, until he, with red eyes, found the pills in my bag and asked, "What is this?" "Stomach medicine," I said, trying to snatch it back. He wouldn't let me. "You're lying, aren't you?" "How could it be? How could you have this kind of illness? You must be lying to me, right?" He grabbed my hands, frantically seeking confirmation. "You're mad at me, aren't you? But you can't fool me like this. It's not right." This time, he didn't listen to any explanation and carried me directly to the hospital, forcefully insisting the doctor run the tests. I stayed calm the entire time, watching him negotiate with the doctor, seeing his hands tremble as he held the report. I watched as his composed demeanor shattered bit by bit, and he sank into despair. "No, this can't be true." He tore up the report and took me from hospital to hospital, only to get the same crushing results each time. "Enough." I grabbed his hand as he tried to dial another number. "Stop it. The results won't change." "No, I found out 6 months ago." I held his face in my hands, forcing him to look at me. "The day Rosie came to me, pregnant. Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't want to upset you at first. But after I found out about the baby, I didn't want to not upset you either. I didn't want to give you time to get comfortable with the idea of my death. I wanted to hit you all at once, making it hurt deeply. There's only 20 days left. Too bad you found out now." I wanted him to wake up and see the lover who was in his arms yesterday turn cold. I wanted him to see the house full of life suddenly become empty, just like how I was hit with the devastating news back then. His expression became stiff, painfully realizing the cruel intent behind my words. "Jane, do you hate me?" I sighed. Ethan, let's get a divorce. No, I can't. He held me so tightly, I could hardly breathe. Let's fight this illness. I'll be with you. You can hate me, hit me, curse me, or treat me badly like Rosie. Just live. You need to live. Jane. He looked so lost and in pain. Jane, why does it have to be like this? I never betrayed you. I only love you. Jane, Ethan, you should know love can't tolerate any sand in it. By choosing to have that child, you gave up on me. No, Jane, that child is a test tube baby. I've never even touched her. I only love you. Ethan hurriedly explained, making me smile bitterly. Ethan, you're sly. Just because it's a test tube baby, it's not betrayal. Why should I accept a child with another woman? You did this for yourself, leaving a justification, so I'd have no choice but to forgive you. You're worse than I thought. I am a jerk. Jane, it doesn't matter if you don't forgive me. Just don't leave me. Don't go. Ethan still couldn't accept the fact I was dying, stubbornly keeping me by his side. Jane, I made some liquid food. The doctor says you need to eat, or you won't have any strength. No, I turned away. Let's get divorced. Ethan, I don't want to die as your wife. The soup spilled, scalding his hand red, but he just sat there, stunned and numb. Jane, you are my wife, always. He kissed my hand, whispering softly, you aren't leaving me. I woke up multiple times at night, mostly from the pain, and Ethan would wake up immediately whenever I did. His face always looked terrible whenever he saw me coughing up blood. The next day, I saw new cuts on his arm. Ethan was self-harming. Keeping me alive was torturous for him too. A proud man, who always had everything go his way, getting what he wanted. Now, there was nothing he could do but watch me deteriorate day by day. When there were just 10 days of medication left, Ethan's mom came to the house. You jinx, you're dying. Why drag my son down with you? She tried to hit me, but Ethan wouldn't let her near. Ethan, you ungrateful brat. How could you treat your mom like this? You went to a master to exchange your life for hers. Do you think about what will happen to your mom? What about your baby son? Ethan, she continued, you stay with this dying woman every day. Have you even looked at your son? Mom, you can't talk about her like that. Ethan shouted, she's not that. She's going to live. She's going to have a long life. Ethan now deceived himself as well. He knew deep down, I wouldn't survive, but he thought prayer could somehow save me. It wouldn't. Ethan, I don't want your life. I just want to cut ties with you completely. Ethan cut off all access to the house. Apart from the doctor and the delivery driver, no one was allowed in. My body finally broke down completely. I couldn't even get out of bed anymore. The worst part wasn't death, it was being unable to take care of myself. My mind was still sharp, watching my limbs swell and turn ugly, waiting for death. I couldn't go to the bathroom anymore, and had to rely on a urinary catheter. Ethan stayed by my side every day without a word of complaint, though the cuts on his body increased. But the liquid food he made was awful. I couldn't bring myself to eat any of it. I'm dying. I grabbed Ethan and took long breaths before I could say a whole sentence. While I can still talk. Ethan, divorce me. I want to die. I can't hold on anymore. Divorce me so I can go peacefully. His eyes slowly reddened. He squeezed my hand tightly. Even though I didn't want to look at him, I still felt his hurt gaze on me. I never doubted his love for me before, but now none of that matters. I remember the sleepless night when I found out about the baby. I saw his car parked downstairs all night. That lonely figure smoking in the wind reminded me of the young boy who stood there years ago, looking up at me. I almost forgot how passionately I once loved him. I first saw him in my freshman year. It was a brief glance in the lecture hall, and I fell for him instantly. Meeting him, falling in love, getting to know each other. It was like a fairy tale. We built snowmen together on the snowy playground, watched the sunrise from a quiet mountaintop, and kissed under romantic fireworks. I really believed we'd be together forever. But it all shattered when he decided to have a baby with another woman. So, this is goodbye, Ethan. By the next morning, I didn't even have the strength to speak. Ethan took me to the hospital. I had tubes everywhere. Doctors and nurses were around me all day. But dying was easy. It didn't matter how many people were there. Every moment was painful. I looked at Ethan and used all my strength to pinch his hand. He had lost so much weight. His hand looked frail. When he saw me mouth divorce, Ethan finally broke down in despair. Jane, don't do this to me. Jane, from morning till night, I thought I was done for several times. but every time I opened my eyes, I saw those white coats. The patient is suffering. Family members should consider whether to continue treatment. Saving her now is meaningless. That night, Ethan sat holding my hand for a long time. He talked about our past and repeated how much he loved me. Just before dawn, the lawyer arrived. He took out the divorce papers and signed them in front of me. I didn't have the strength, so Ethan held my hand and helped me sign my name. Jane, you can rest easy now. He kissed my forehead, and his tears fell on my face. Jane, you are free, Ethan cried. For the first time in 7 years, I saw the invincible Ethan cry. Sadly, I was in so much pain, I couldn't feel the heat of his tears. Holding the divorce paper, I slowly smiled and sighed with relief. Finally, no more pain. A month after Jane died, I finally saw my son. He was thin and looked completely different, all wasted away. He wasn't going to class, wouldn't eat, just drinking all day to numb himself. He slept with that woman's urn, carrying it around like a treasure. I couldn't understand why he couldn't let go of that woman. He wouldn't even look at his own crying son. I saw hate in his eyes. He refused to see me and pushed me away. Go, all of you, go. No one is taking her away from me. He shoved me while gently stroking the urn, mumbling, "Don't be scared, Jane, don't be scared. No one will hurt you again." In his eyes, I had become the murderer who killed Jane. Sigh, what misfortune. Every day, I brought his child to persuade him. She's gone. What's the use of holding that urn? I watched his wounds with heartbreak. The doctor said he did them himself. His arms were covered in crisscrossed scars, now festering because he refused treatment. I brought doctors, but he wouldn't cooperate. Son, you've made enough trouble. Forget her. You still have a family and a newborn baby. If you ruin your health, what will happen to us? He looked up at the baby in my arms with red eyes, then went crazy, grabbing the baby's neck. It's because of him Jane left me. I shouldn't have had him. Yes, if he dies, Jane will come back. I slapped him hard. Are you crazy? This is your son. Damn it. We all deserve to die. We're all murderers. He was smiling, but his eyes were full of sadness. Jane, what do I have to do to make you forgive me? Jane, Jane. There was no one else in his eyes. My son had gone insane. I could only run away with the baby, never daring to let him see the child again. But that was our last meeting. That night, my foolish son locked himself in the wedding room he shared with Jane and set it on fire. He was gone, turning to ashes with Jane. Now they can never be apart. I've cried my eyes out. I don't understand how a good family turned into this. Who is to blame?